Sergey talks about he overtrained and he was tired after the 5th round and stuff like that. Basically, not giving you credit for, what you were doing and why he struggled later in the rounds. What's your take on that?
It's just interesting that fight's 5 months? 5 months ago?
Thank you, Andre. You can use the same time.
That's the first time, I'm hearing something like that, which was yesterday in Oakland. So you can either believe the headline or like the way my mind works, he knows that we noticed that. He knows that we pointed that out, so they got to scramble and come up with a reason. But at the end of the day, bro, if you want to train less and you think that's going to help you, do what you got to do. We're not buying it, but do what you got to do. At the end of the day, that ain't the only fight he gassed out in. But because he's fighting guys that maybe were trying to get out of the way and trying to survive, he can play that role and he can hide it. But you can't hide that chest going up and down in between rounds. Those are the things I watch. I watch what's going on during the round, but I watch what's going on after. Are you calm? How much are you breathing? Are you standing up before the bell rings? Like, that was the biggest moment for him. And if you can't get up for that moment, even if you do feel tired, then what moment can you get up for? So that's what he said. At the end of the day, to be honest with you, it really doesn't matter. Like, at the end of the day, I want him to be at his best. If you feel like you got to do less training to be at your best, do it. Be at your best. Because this stuff looks bad, man, and I don't think they realize how bad it looks. Like, as experienced as his team is, she said, 40 years? That's all you guys can come up with is we got robbed? That's it? After 4 months? That's surprising to me, man.
Why do you take the toughest fights? I mean, you could have gone any direction. You could have taken 2 easy fights or other opponents, other weight classes.
Because I want to be great. I want to be great, and I want to be named amongst the greats. And, it's a place for tune-ups. Had a couple layoffs. You got to get back in the groove. But at the end of the day, I want to face the best. Like, I care about the quality of fights that the network that I'm fighting on gets, HBO, that the fans are getting, that you guys are seeing. And I don't want to be a guy that's saying, I need to be here. No, I got to prove it. And I've always kind of been understated my whole career, but that's kind of my lane. And then I want to be the guy that sneaks up on them and gets it done when I'm supposed to get it done. So that's just kind of always what we've done. And that's how Verge has coached me. He wasn't a guy that protected me coming up. At a certain point, he said, man, go, you can beat me. Long before everybody else figured it out. So that's just kind of how we've always done it.
Shakur, I thought it was interesting that Mr. Prince brought up Russia and America and politics and all that, presidents. Do you have any thoughts or opinions on that, on how that correlates between these two personalities in this fight, you being the American, him the Russian?
I mean, personally for me, it's not, the political piece of it is not really, it's not really what I'm focused on, but there's obviously, natural parallel, and I think people are gonna make the comparison. People even made the comparison about the Rocky movie with the drag off.
Rocky IV.
Yeah. So like people are going, and it's all good. Like, I don't mind people doing that, but personally, like, that's not my focus. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not, I've always represented the U.S. I've always felt it, very important to represent my country, whether I'm fighting somebody from the U.S. or not. And I'm a very patriotic person, so that's always kind of been my thing. So I'm not too focused on it, but it's definitely there.
All right, thanks, guys.
Just tell me about Shakur Stevenson. Shakur's turning pro. He's a great kid. I talked to him this week. He looks up to you like you. I don't even if you know how
I
much.
thought he was supposed to be here. He big time, is he?
Nah.
Now he got all the shine.
Tell me 3 things you like about him in boxing. He's a great kid, but what makes him a great fighter? 3 things, if you could tell me.
He's not a bad-looking guy. The boy can fight. He's got charisma. Give you a few more than 3. Okay. And he's just, he's a real deal. It's one thing when you got a fighter with ability, but you got to kind of nurse him along. And there is a point even with Shakur, but he's got it, man. Like, I think at his stage in his career, like, he's just got a lot more natural ability than me. I always felt like, I had to work extra hard to do certain things. And I know he works hard, but the way I look at him, like, it seems to come easy to him. So all he has to do is just stay focused. He's got a dream team with, Josh Dubin and James Prince and Julie as his publicist. And he just got to stay focused. I think it's academic, the titles and all that stuff, I think that's academic. He just got to stay focused.
I asked Kovalev earlier if he'd ever fought angry in his career. And he told me around the 5th or 6th round, I was angry in the fight with you. And that's where he lost the fight, of course. an angry fighter, how does that affect the mindset of the fighter?
I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't recommend. This is like, it's amazing to me, man. Like the stuff this guy comes up with, like it's amazing. Like you can't make this stuff up. I'm serious. Like you can't make this stuff up. I don't know if they're meeting about this stuff in the boardroom before they come out here, or if this is him coming. It's crazy. Like it's like unreal. Like, you know, when you hear something and you say, man, I feel that. Like I see where he's coming from. And then you hear something and you're like, what? Like, what are you talking about? I done had a lot. What? Like for the past 4 months? Like, are you serious? Like, you lost me beyond just saying you felt you wanted to fight. All the other stuff. Oh man.
How would you have handled the situation if the decision didn't go your way?
I wouldn't have been happy, but I try to be a man of integrity. I'm not gonna make excuses about it. I'm gonna say, look, man, I felt like I won, and this is why. I'm gonna go on about my business. And obviously, I may have to repeat that a few times because I'm gonna be getting interviewed and stuff. But I'm not gonna start accusing the commission and I'm not gonna.